What's going on, people? It's the Icon back again to do some more DC TV. Today we're going over Black Lightning and The Flash. Both shows came out with very good season openers. And right now we're going to get right into it. Talk about both, the good, the bad, the ugly, get into some predictions. And then we'll, see where we go next week. So now let's get things set up and talk about a little Black Lightning. So, Black Lightning is back, and we're off to a good start. Last season, the Markovian invasion was upon us, and, now we're dealing with the fallout of that. I guess it's like, time in the CW usually goes by current time, so it's probably been about 4 or 5 months since we last saw them. And it starts off with the Odell's detention center, we're just going to call it. They're interviewing, they're keeping hostage people who they think are suspected of being green light babies. They're interviewing them, they're asking them like multiple questions, like every single day, like over and over and over again. And Jefferson Pierce, he's part of that group. He's part of the group of potential metas, Odell knows he's Black Lightning. And the reason why they brought him in, because Odell wanted to study the girls. He wanted to study Jen and Nyssa. And Black Lightning was like, well, look, you can have me. Instead, just don't touch my family. So BL and Lynn, they've been with Odell this whole time, and Jen and Nyssa have been out on the streets with Gamby. The whole point of them wanting Black Lightning is because since he has stabilized metahuman DNA, they want to, take blood samples, study him, so this way they can... Odell's whole thing is he wants to weaponize the metahumans. He's not looking for a cure. He's trying to find out how not to kill the one that can be useful to the NSA. They have Nyssa, the kid who can make people tell the truth by looking at him. They have him. They still got Khalil, and nobody knows about Khalil yet. And they still got Wendy, who's trapped in there. And I don't think Lynn. Well, they obviously don't know about Khalil, but I don't think Lynn knows that they have Wendy as well. So, Black Light. So that's pretty much the whole Black Lightning storyline. There was a moment where Lynn was trying to get a little freaky, and Odell walked up in the room on both of them, and he was basically like, "Look. Some stuff went down. I need you to stay here a little longer." Black Lightning was like, "Nah, I'm getting out of here, brother." But then he was just like, "Look, I'll take the collar off," because they had them wear inhibitor collars. He was like, "I'll take the collar off as a sign of good faith, and you just stay here when it's safe. Let me protect you and your family. It'll only be a little bit longer, yada, yada, yada." So he takes the collar off. Once Black Lightning takes the collar off, he realizes that he's acquired new powers. I don't know if this is because of some of the experiments that the ASA's done to him, or if it's just a result of over time, because he had said to Lynn that the tech that Gamby gave him, it synced with his powers. Like when he would wear the goggles, his electricity would flow through the goggles and allow him to have X-ray vision. Now he just has X-ray vision and doesn't need the goggles anymore. So his powers are growing, and he's like 44, 45 years old. So his powers aren't growing out of nowhere. His powers are growing because something happened, and I think that's something that Odell, maybe have done to him the whole 4 months while he was locked up inside of there. So, so that's basically it. Like nothing. He talks to Lynn. He tells Lynn that, hey, listen, I can see people. I got X-ray vision, and then, he's just like, keep it on the quiet because we don't want Odell to have any more reasons to, start acting up. So then he sees Tobias. Tobias was taking a serum that was giving him, unlimited youth. It was allowing him to staying looking young, and gave him his super strength. And now that he's been locked up, he hasn't been taking the serum, so now his old age is starting to catch up to him, and he's dying. They had Issa speak to Tobias Whale, and Tobias Whale basically spilled the beans, and he said that Proctor was actually working for Odell, who Odell was working for somebody else, who was and their whole goal was to acquire as many metahuman assets as humanly possible. And then once Issa found that out, and Odell knew that Issa found that out, Odell killed him because he's like, boy, you know too much, and poisoned his food, which was gangster. So, and Lynn's aware of that because when Black Lightning was looking at Issa through the walls, he told her that the boy's 100% perfectly healthy, and then now he just pops up dead. So Lynn's not stupid, she'll put two and two together. But that's where we left it at with the adults. Tobias Whale's still locked up, he's dying, Issa's dead. You know, Black Lightning and Lynn, they're still with Odell, and none of them are free. You know, as of yet. So regarding Nyssa, Braxton from the Jamie Foxx show is now a member of the U.S. government. There's the ASA, which is what Odell, the organization Odell works for. They have a metahuman facility. You know, it's like they're basically like putting black people in cages who they suspect are, you know, metahuman. They're not treating them like human beings. They don't have rooms where they're being studied in a controlled, doctored environment. They're being locked up in cages like animals. Very reminiscent to horrible events of the past. And this is basically the inside person, you know, like she works for the clinic, you know, like she has medical training. So she's the one who, she goes in, she looks at, you know, the metahumans, the kids, she identifies them, and then later on she goes out as Blackbird and she frees them and takes them across, you know, state lines so they can get out, so the metahumans can get out of Freeland. You know, there was another metahuman, his name was Galvatron or Comatron or something like that. He, you know, he was basically, he said he was a petty thief. The ASA got their hands on him and they turned him into a weapon. You know, Braxton himself, I gotta remember his actual name on the show. He's also a metahuman, and he has the ability to where he can copy any metahuman's power. So when he actually gets into the thick of it, when he starts fighting people, this will be extremely interesting because he's a metahuman copycat, but he works for the NSA, so he's a metahuman who actually, you know, was brought in to basically be a weapon for the government, and he thrives in that. You know, he rolled up on Henderson and then he bust Henderson's ass, like beat him up in his own office and told Henderson to tell the public that there's martial law. You know, not Lynn, Nyssa, you know, she's getting ready to, actually there was a bus that was full of metahumans, and Nyssa, dressed up like Blackbird, she went out and she helped the kids, you know, like the people, I don't know if they're all children. I think they're all children. Yeah, she helped all the kids. She got them all off the bus, and she brought them to the Reverend, you know, to Reverend Holt's church. Now, Reverend Holt was being interviewed by this black woman who works for Clapback News, and I don't know how they got away with calling your news outlet Clapback News, but he was doing an interview, and I don't trust this girl. Like, I don't know if she's a spotter. She seems like she has a hidden agenda. Hell, she might even be a metahuman. But she just doesn't seem like she's down for the cause of saving people. She seems like she's just here to... She's working for somebody. Like, she has an ulterior motive. You know, her and Nyssa, you know, she rolled up on Nyssa at the lesbian bar. Nyssa took her back home. They got it on because Nyssa was a little upset because Gamby showed her a picture of Grace walking around like a tiger, you know, eating people. And, you know, she loves Grace. She has feelings for Grace. But to drown her sorrows in something other than alcohol, she took this reporter girl back home with her. And the reporter girl was cool with it. She was just like, hey, you know, if we're just doing it, we're just doing it. You know, if it's not going to turn into nothing, it's not going to turn into nothing. Which further makes me believe that she can't be trusted. But that remains to be seen. Because after Nyssa hit it and quit it, she took off. You know, and then then toward the Gamby, he had found basically like a chink in the perimeter that the NSA had put like an electrical grid around Freeland. Gamby found a chink in it where he could open the grid up. So he got together with Nyssa. They took the kids that that she had picked up on the bus, and she helped them. You know, they got to the fence, they got to the electric fence. Gamby opened that hole that he found, and then the metahuman kids ran through the fence off to where the Purdy lives from last season. So they had like this underground metahuman railroad where they're helping, you know, like locked up metahumans escape, you know, from the NSA's clutches, which is cool because, you know, Jefferson can't be Black Lightning and everybody thinks Black Lightning and Thunder's dead. Nyssa can't be Thunder, so Nyssa's going out as Blackbird because, you know, Blackbird can be the vigilante that Thunder can't right now. So, you know, and it falls to Nyssa, like, you know, with Black Lightning out of commission, it's Nyssa's show now. It's like she has to pick up the mantle, the family business, and, you know, and she has to protect the people, and she's doing a good job of getting the people out. There was a moment where she was trying to help the kids get through, and then she got blasted by a missile, and she's actually on the other end of the fence as well. So she's not even in Freeland right now, so she could be, she's obviously injured, and we have to see what happens to her, in the very next episode. Not too much with Gambi. We just found out that Gambi, he just gave Nissa like a brand new car that had, and he also gave her an AI, just like Lena Luthor on Supergirl. Nissa has her own, has her own Siri. I think, her Siri or Alexa is called Shonda, which I thought was hilarious. And Nissa has a brand new apartment because she's no longer living at her grandfather's house. She has a brand new apartment. She has her Shonda Siri device. She has, like her own setup. She has a computer. She has, like gadgets and everything. Like Gambi basically hooked her up. Like, like Nissa. At this point, Nissa could have her own show right now and just do her own thing outside of Black Lightning because she's completely equipped and set up to do whatever it is that she wants to do. And like I said, it's her show. I mean, the episode was called Blackbird. So, we're currently watching the Nissa Pierce show, which I'm totally fine with because that woman is fine as all hell. Jennifer is, Jennifer's always struggling with something. Jennifer's in this whole situation where, she's just like, I just want to be a kid. Like, she's annoyed. Like, she's trying to use her powers. Gambi gave her an image inducer that turns her into like an Asian girl, so she uses that to go out and try to have fun. She uses that to use her powers because she said because Nissa rolled up on her and was like, you can't be hanging out because there's a curfew, and if you get busted, then we're all in trouble. Blah blah blah. And then she told her, she was like, listen, like my powers hurt. She said whenever I use my powers, it hurts, and I have to release it. Otherwise, like it eats me up inside. And of course, Nissa knows about that because she just got her release right before she picked up Jennifer. And the two of them actually had a nice conversation. It wasn't one of those girl, I'm gonna beat your ass. Like they had like a loving like sister talk. Not too much with Jennifer. Even when Nissa got blown through the hole, Jennifer put on the suit and she's ready to go kick some ass. And Gambi was just like, no, keep it cool. Calm down, and we'll give it till morning because we don't want to blow our cover. And if Nissa's okay, if Nissa doesn't contact us by tomorrow, then we'll go find her. So Jen's playing the waiting game right now, which for her is a very big deal. But overall, that was that was the episode. That was a good episode. Oh, and then it ended with my boy Lala, because they were talking about the briefcase. One of the questions that Issa was asking Tobias was where the briefcase was, because they're still trying to find the briefcase. And then nobody knows where the briefcase is. Come to find out, Lala has it. Last time we saw Lala, after he got beat up by Jennifer and Black Lightning. Well, no, after Lala got beat up by Tobias Whale, he was basically on the floor, knocked out. And then when we see Lala again, he wakes up in a hotel. You see the briefcase on the table, and you see the gun on the table. And it's kind of cool because Lala is like the anti-hero, where like he's a bad guy, but he does the right things to protect his city. And I think when it's all said and done by the end of the season, Lala will be the person to save Freeland, as he did last season when he saved Black Lightning and Thunder. But overall, good start to the Black Lightning show, and I'm definitely looking forward to see what they got stored in episode 2. So last season when we left The Flash, Barry and Iris were saying goodbye to Nora based on the message that she left them in the Time Vault. During that time, the newspaper from when Barry was supposed to disappear due to the crisis counted down to this year, 2019. And some mysterious explosion happened where the Time Vault, like burnt down or malfunctioned or, basically cooked. And then the message that the chip that had Nora's message on it ended up being destroyed. So we then fast forward 4 months later, and the Flash is still doing Flash things. He takes down Godspeed, which has the greatest speedster costume of all time. But unfortunately, the man inside the costume isn't as intimidating. It turns out that this person is a robot, and he's not the real Godspeed, he's not the real person, but for some reason, they said that this is like the 4th Godspeed that they've taken down, who ended up being a fake. It ended up being, like an android. So, there's another storyline here. Like, it was one of those things where let's just introduce this real quick. We have Godspeed robots popping up. Godspeed is obviously from Nora's future, but something's happening with that. But we're just going to show you that real quick. We're going to pick it up, put it to the side, and now let's continue with the actual show. So the actual show takes place with both Barry and Iris, grieving over the loss of of Nora, which is weird because people were telling them like, listen, you're eventually going to have kids, and then when you have kids, then you'll get Nora back. It's not like she's gone forever. But then Iris had said, she was like, yeah, but it's not going to be the same Nora. She might be different personality, this, that, and the third. And that does make sense because the Nora that we knew from last season, she was a result of not having her dad around. If they have kids this time, this Nora will actually have her dad around, which could turn her into a different person. She might not even have speedster powers for all we know. So, so they pretty much struggled. Barry's way of dealing with Nora's absence was basically telling the team, like, hey, we can't fail. Let's do something. Let's figure this out. Let's figure that out. They ended up going to a family barbecue. And during the family barbecue, everybody was just trying to get their eat on, just chill, laugh it up. And then Barry was like, hey, Cisco, maybe we could work on this. And he was just like, all right, cool, we'll do it later. He was like, nah, but if you do this now, then we could do this, that, and the third. And he was like, bro, we'll do it later. And he was like, besides, I can't even work on anything because I don't got my laptop. Barry went to Star Labs, came back with his laptop, was like, here, work on it. So Barry's pushing the whole, let's not, take a moment to breathe. Let's not take breaks. Let's just keep pushing. Because like he said towards the end of the episode, he was like, he doesn't want to lose anybody else ever again. Iris's approach was more like holding on to things. Like, she was upset because the chip got burnt because that was her only connection to Nora. And then earlier in the episode, she Joe accidentally threw out the purple jacket that Iris wore when she was a speedster, and that she was eventually going to give to Nora when Nora got older. So she lost her mind. She even lied to Barry about why she was at the junkyard, trying to find the purple jacket. While she was in the junkyard, a black hole opened and almost sucked her in it, but the black hole sucked up the jacket. The team investigated. Another black hole popped up at Jitters, and then Iris did some investigating, and she found out there's this black dude who has a YouTube channel that recorded himself building a black hole device, and he created I think he did it by accident. He created a black hole, and it was maybe about this big or whatever, and then he touched it, and then as soon as he touched it, he kind of passed out, and and then he became a vegetable. The only thing that was moving was he had one finger that just kept tapping. So the team investigates the whole situation because there's black holes popping up all over the city, and they got to find this out. Come to find out, Iris, after talking with Cecile's back. After talking with Cecile, Iris finds out that the reason why the black dude, whose name I can't remember, the black dude is mentally controlling the black holes because 50% of his brain is part of the black hole. So his consciousness slipped into the black hole, and he kept telling everybody there was this girl at Jitters that he liked that we never saw, and that he wanted to get her number. So he used to go to junkyards to find old parts to build together. That's why he was at the junkyard conveniently when Iris was there. He liked this girl from Jitters, so he kept showing up at Jitters. And Caitlin was there when the black hole showed up at Jitters, and Caitlin actually tried to turn into Killer Frost, and Killer Frost wouldn't come out. So but the Flash ended up saving her, from the black hole. So when Iris finds out that this dude is actually, he is the black hole, he's connected to the black hole, they come up with this crazy idea on how to get him back in. They have a device that they can suck up the black hole consciousness, and they can put the black hole consciousness back into the guy. So they can probably they could try to save his life, because at first Cisco was just like, yo, let's just close the black hole, and then Barry was like, nah, because we could probably still save him. And then Cisco was like, we can't save him, and he was like, we can save him, I'm not gonna lose anybody. And then they were like, alright, fine. So they came up with a way to save him. Shout out to them playing the Flash, Alan, Defender of the Universe. That was actually pretty cool. To finally, he is the Flash after all, and there was a good line with Cisco and Iris where Cisco was just like, yo, he's literally going into a black hole, and I've been waiting 5 years to play this song. And Iris is like, well, yeah, you got a point. So that was pretty funny to watch the Flash swoop in, to his theme music. Barry goes into the hole. He saves, the consciousness of the YouTuber, and while he was in there, he also got his wife's jacket. He gave it back to her. They put the dude's consciousness back in his brain, and it was weird because when they put his consciousness back into his body, his eye, he was fine. He was just like, oh snap, it's the Flash. I know the Flash, and he was all excited and everything, but his eyes were yellow. So they, Caitlin said that we want to hold him in for some testing, and then they're gonna leave him in Star Labs for a while, and then they're just gonna, because she said that eventually his condition will turn back to normal, but we're just gonna wait and see. Which means this dude's obviously, he ain't going nowhere. Like, he's gonna be a part of the show. Whether he becomes a bad guy, whether or not he becomes a good guy is irrelevant. But that's where we're at right now. So Barry and Iris have their end of the episode conversation where, they're talking about, Nora's memory and how they're going to solve it and get through it as a family. And then the Monitor shows up, and then he's just like, yes, I destroyed Nora's memory to give you, distraught and pain, because he's trying to get a rise out of them. He was trying to have them go through like horrible things, and then he was like, because you need to be prepared for the crisis. And then Iris was like, mother effer, like, the crisis ain't coming for like another like 4 years. He's like, no bitch, it's coming in 2 months, so you better get ready, because there's no way to stop it, and the Flash will die. And that's how the episode it ended. It ended with the Flash. So now the season, or at least the first part of the season, because the new showrunner, he did say that the season was going to be broken up into 3 parts. So this first part of the season is basically Barry trying to come to terms with the fact that in the crisis he's not going to be around, and he has to get the team ready for that. He has to get the team prepared for that, to be without him. Iris's whole thing is like, nah, we're going to save you, but Barry's like, in case you can't save me, I got to get the team ready to move on without me, which is kind of jacked up because Cisco done already got rid of his powers. So that's where we're at now. Other character-wise, Caitlin got a new costume, and she has this thing with Killer Frost where Killer Frost is trying to become her own person. Killer Frost's whole life has just been protecting Katie and saving Katie, but Killer Frost is just like, I don't know, maybe I want to do something else besides save Katie. And then, Kate was just like, yo, like, if you want to take the wheel, just let me know. And then, she let her switch. So it's like, we're going to get more Killer Frost and less Caitlin. So I think now what's going to happen is, it's going to be Killer Frost like 20 hours a day, and then when they need medical assistance, then Kate will come back, which gives the actress an opportunity basically just to be Killer Frost all the time. She might end up getting a new name because Ralph, hinted at giving her like a brand new name. So we'll see if they come up with Emma Frost. That'll be her last name. Who knows? Maybe she'll end up meeting a best friend who has fire powers, and then we'll get Fire and Ice, which is interesting. But the outfit looks good. Like, I like how Caitlin looks in the outfit, and more Killer Frost definitely isn't a bad thing. Ralph, he was basically hunting down some girl that he dated in the comics, and he's trying to find her. He came back for a little bit on his James Bond-ish. But he was basically just to come back to talk to Caitlin Snow and help her out. Cisco's with his girlfriend, like, they're still doing stuff, and Vibe hasn't returned yet. He still doesn't have the Vibe powers, so whether or not he gets those back remains to be seen, because I can't see us going through the entire season with Cisco just being the Felicity of Team Flash, unless this new black dude who can create black holes, not breaches, unless he ends up having the power to where he can create black holes and people can transport from one place to another, and then the team ends up rolling with the black dude, and then the actor who plays Cisco ends up leaving the show. Joe and Cecile are still together. They're not doing, Cecile's still looking fine. Like, nothing really changed with them. And I think that's it for and no Wells yet. We didn't get Harrison Wells yet. So we're on Wells watch. But based on the trailers and the commercials, the new Wells is like a military Wells that's about kicking ass and taking names, and then we'll probably find out he's a complete coward and he just puts on this persona. So good start to the Flash. The Flash is actually, besides Arrow, the only show right now that's really all about the crossover. Everything that's happening with Arrow, with the Flash and Arrow is leading to the crossover. So once we get that, then we'll go back to regular Flash stuff, which in my opinion will have to do with Godspeed. But until then, we'll just enjoy the ride. So that was it. That was my review for Black Lightning and the Flash. Looking good. Like I said, CW's coming out with a bang, and we're still waiting for Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow to start, the final season of Arrow. Rest in peace to the GOAT. And I'll be here to cover it. So thanks for tuning in. Until next time, as always, guys, I'm out this bitch.